Greetings, BlazeLeeDragon here, and today I wanted to talk about divinity, the divine, and my personal concepts on spirituality. I really feel like there is wisdom all around us. I once said, and it's so cheesy to quote yourself, I once said that a wise man can learn from even a child. Only a fool needs an ancient text. And my point of saying that was that so many of us are so dead set on wisdom, knowledge, and understanding coming from this ancient, old source that have been passed down. No matter what path you follow, just because it's an old path doesn't mean it's the right path. And just because it's a brand new path doesn't mean it's the wrong path. There is wisdom in every aspect in life, every path that's out there. So if you are someone who is like, let's say you're specifically a Wiccan, that doesn't mean you can't find wisdom in Christianity. Let's say you're a Christian, that doesn't mean that you can't find wisdom in Buddhism. Let's say you're a Druid, that doesn't mean that you can't find wisdom in Hinduism. There are a great many paths out there, some that have been alive for a while that have evolved with time. Some of them are brand new, some of them are revival movements. There's Jediism now. People are taking the concepts that they saw in these Star Wars movies and they're making a religion out of it. What's wrong with that? If they can find wisdom within this, if they can take these sayings, I think even a lot of the things that Lucas wrote were off of like Yiddish proverbs and stuff. So there's like still a reason to at least acknowledge it. And even if it is brand new or made up, who cares? There still can be wisdom in everywhere we go. What are we seeking when we seek out a path or a religion or a faith? I'm sure there's plenty of answers to that, and that's a very vague, broad question. But this is my personal interpretation and feelings when it comes to the divine. I do believe that there is divinity. I do not believe that as humans we can comprehend it. I think that we try to. I think that we create religions and paths and names for different deities in order to try to understand and comprehend that which is incomprehensible. Again, this is only my opinion. Doesn't mean it's right. Doesn't mean it's wrong. But this is just my opinion. I like to call this the mountain theory. The reason I say that is because I visualize a mountain with it, and that's the way I explain it. So take it for what it is. This is my theory. It doesn't mean that it's exclusively mine. I'm sure I've been influenced by research and study that I've done. I like to think of exploring a religious or spiritual path as walking up a mountain. So if you're coming up a mountain and divinity is up here above the mountain, you can climb up anywhere you want. And if you think of like a peak, these paths might be complete opposite. They might be in completely different direction. They might be far, far apart. You can go all around the perimeter of that mountain and you'll have a great, vast variety of paths that are fully separate. And if you're trying to reach the divine, which I believe is the ultimate goal of spirituality, you have to walk up the mountain. And as you walk up, these paths start narrowing and they start getting closer together. I believe, in my personal views, that at the essence and core of all faith, it is trying to get the same ultimate goal, to connect with the divine, to be in its light, to be one or connected, or to see yourself in perspective with it. And as we get closer through our religious practices, spiritual practices, our paths, we start to realize that we're closer together than we thought. We take the concepts of having some sort of morality and interacting with one another, that ultimately most of these paths are trying to do good, not only for ourselves, but for those around us in our society. We realize that the course of concepts can be shared across it. But once we get to the top of that mountain, the further up we get, we look down around us, we realize that it's just semantics that really are the core differences. Maybe the way that we do the ceremonies and rituals, and that's the outside perimeter. And those that are on the outside perimeter see themselves as so far from those on the opposite side of the mountain, or even their neighbors that are off to the side, they can still see Maybe on the other side, they know there's a path over there, but they've never looked at it. So they have no idea what it is. They just know it's way different than theirs, and it's way far over there. Off to the side, those they can see, they're far away, so it looks different. You know, there's more trees over there. Here, there's more plains. The sun rises on that side, so it's always bright over there during one time. It's always dark over here on another. Maybe in between, you have a little bit of light and dark. There's different ways of looking at it, different shadows, different creatures, different pieces of land. There's so many different things, but keep climbing up that mountain. You are so certain this is the right way up the mountain. If you walk up this path right here, there is a clearing. People have walked this path before. They've cleared a route for you. There's stepping stones. There's maybe steps that they've actually put in, handrails. This is the path that you walk. This is how you get to the divine. Don't go through the trees in the jungle. You're going to get yourself hurt, get yourself lost. You're going to die. You have to walk this path if you want to reach the divine. Some people might have that concept, but you start to see other people have cleared paths too. You can forge your own path as you go up that mountain. You're all trying to get to the peak. You're trying to hit that divinity. But once you get to the top of that mountain and you look down and you start accepting others, okay, I kind of get the idea. I still feel my path was best. It's the one I chose to take. But, you know, I see these other paths, they're trying something similar. They're also trying to reach this path up here. They're trying to forge a path for others to walk. They're trying to have this communal thing. Now I'm towards the tip of the mountain, and I look up, and I see I'm nowhere near the divine. The divine is still out of reach. I might have more of the divinity touching me, more of the light touching me, more understanding, but I realize I'm never going to reach the divine. And I realize that this whole path up the mountain was just to get a new perspective on life, to be more aware of what we are doing and how we're doing it. That is my mountain concept. That is how I feel about spirituality and paths. I feel like it is just our way of, as humans, to try to interpret something we cannot interpret. I'm repeating myself with intent for a reason. I want to get this concept across, which is my concept, and I do not expect you to buy in or believe it. I really feel like we're trying to understand something that is incomprehensible. And to make matters worse, we are trying to describe it to another individual. That's what religion is. We can have our own personal path, that's fine. And then all of the meaning and interpretations are our own. We don't have to argue. We don't have to try to have someone else understand or accept it. It's our own path. But once you start becoming part of a religion, a church, a coven, an organization, a group of practitioners, whatever, a kindred, a temple, a hall, a hoft, whatever, if you get together with others, they're going to be back and forth, and then you're going to have to start to try to interpret a feeling. Explain love to another person. Okay? Now explain the different types of love. The love that you can have for a pet, for a sibling, for a parent, for a spouse, for children on the other side of the world that are starving, for other human beings, for the earth. Love is a word that can have multitude of meanings. So if you want to express one specific feeling, how do you know that the feeling is the same for that other person? If I was to tell you that I love my pets, I love my animals, that they're part of my family, let's say I even call them family, how do you explain that to somebody else who does not view pets as family, who love pets more like property than like their own children? How do you make them feel what you are feeling? I don't think you can. And I think that's one problem I have with words when it comes to religion and spirituality. Words have different meaning to different people. Yes, the core concept and definition is universally shared. Yes, in order for language to work, we have to have a common shared definition when it comes to use of words. However, when we talk about something that is intangible, something that is not perceived by the five senses, then we talk about explaining a feeling, something that we're trying to interpret. And I question personally how much one person feels something compared to how another feels it. One person's love of their spouse versus another person's love of their spouse. Is it the same? Maybe, maybe not. I'm sure there are probably men out there that are men and women out there that are much wiser than me who have done research into such things. I have not. So in my concept and in my mountain theory, I really feel like at the end of the day, you know what? If you're walking up the mountain and you're trying to take some perspective, more power to you. May you have a successful, wonderful journey. May you hit no cliffs. May you fall not. And if you come back down the mountain, may it be of your own volition and will, and down the way that you wanted to go, not stumbling, falling, or tripping. And the gods be willing you are not tripped by another person. Because that's sometimes what we try to do to each other. We walk up different paths and like, oh, well, no, you're not supposed to climb up over there. We try to knock each other down or throw stones at each other. Throw out accusations. No, you're going the wrong way. You're going to die that way. Come up this way. Doesn't have to be that way. So, yep, that's my ramblings for about 12 minutes straight. Thank you for watching and listening. Remember to thumb up, like, and subscribe. I'm BlazeLeeDragon.